In today's video, I'm showing you how you can solo every boss in Nightreign, also going through some top tips and a full gameplay commentary. But starting off with tip number 1 is making sure with every single expedition you go through, you checked the effective, as that is the boss's weakness and you can basically plan your route around that. So starting off with the first one, as you can see there, Holy is his weakness. And before you get into any other expedition, make sure you have the best relics you can have on possible when you are going through, to make sure that you maximize what you're aiming to do. So if the boss is weak to fire, try and get fire relics, weak to poison, etc, etc. But let's get into the actual map and gameplay. Starting off with day 1, and we're going to do this in days. As you can see here, the first thing you're going to want to do is bring up your map and locate churches and the route you're going to take, and the level 1 camps is very, very simple. Once you've plotted them out, that's going to be your day 1 route, and we're going to explain as we move on into the game. So every time you start, there's either going to be a small group of enemies or a very small camp around. Go ahead and eliminate them as soon as you can. Reason being is that's just going to get you up to level 2 extremely fast before you take on anything else or any other bosses. So you can see here, we're just basically farming some ruins nice and early to be able to get ourselves to level 2. And we've located the site of grace as well, so we can just level up as we make our way over. So with that in mind, we're aiming for the 2 churches we marked at the beginning. And we're also looking for the area. So I'm making my way into the first church. We're going to kill the enemies in here as well, just to collect some extra runes. And you're kind of aiming to hit between level 5 to level 7 in the first day to have a solid chance of completing it on your own. Now, of course, you can do this with randoms and keep it going. Take as many warming stones as you can, and of course, any of the pickled feet, whether they're gold or silver. Now, silver I recommend hitting as soon as possible because you can pick up item discovery. But you can see there, we've marked our first camp. We're looking for the site of grace to level up, get ourselves to level 2, and now we make our way over. Now, this camp, compared to the second one we're going to go to, are relatively difficult or different in terms of what they offer. Now, they're only difficult from level 2 onwards, but once you get comfortable with the game, you should take it on. Dodge the arrows that are coming down or any magic by just going underneath the bridge, and this is the same every single time. So you are going to make your way into here. You're going to run past all these enemies because we're aiming for the bosses and the level up more than anything else and the items we receive. We're not looking to farm any of the ruins because we can get them later on. So our main mission is to get to the boss as quickly as possible. So in this camp in particular, he is hidden right at the top. So we are going to make our way up. Now, I do end up taking out a couple of these magic guys because they come a little bit annoying. And sometimes the boss is located here. But in this run, he wasn't, as again, RNG is a thing. So we are going to make our way up to where the boss is. And you'll see here it's one of these crystal ones. Now, these aren't very, very difficult to deal with, especially if you're using heavy attacks and basically rolling at the right time. But as you can see there, we have to take out the second guy because he's just going to chip away at our damage, and that's completely fine. So we are going to go ahead and finish off the boss. Now, you can see here how quick it is, and always make sure you're critting when you can. And on top of that, using your ult and your secondary abilities, because they are going to be one of the clutchest things in this game. And I think people are really underestimating. See there, I use my secondary, get in close, kill our first boss. We get ourselves about 6,000 souls, or ruins, sorry, and then we manage to pick up an item. Now, these items, they have bonuses, and we have to remember that our boss is weak to holy, so we are going to be making our way through. We level up, and okay, let's go to the next camp. And that's exactly what we do. So we're going to take out 2 camps first, get the ruins, level up. Should put us to about level 3, level 4. Then we are going to aim for 1 or 2 churches within day 1. By day 2, which we'll get to a little bit early into this video, is where you're going to basically end up going next. So you see here, we make our way into the second camp. And I get a little bit confused where the bosses are here, so I do need to learn their locations a bit more. But you'll see I end up running around a lot, trying to find them. But these bosses can be a little bit annoying. And don't worry about your flasks. Use as many as you can and many as you want, because every time you go to a site of grace, or every time you kill a boss, one site of grace appears. You will basically just replenish your health instantly and get your bolt and your flask back. So I wouldn't even worry about that. But you can see there, we use our ult. We get the first one down relatively quick, and then I get ganked by 2 wolves. Here we've got the main boss and the one in the back. And I chose to ignore this one for a while like an idiot. You should definitely take out these as soon as you can, and then just be one-on-one with one of the bosses you're looking for. But you can see there, I am using all the extra items we picked up from the church, and I've just finally decided to get rid of the boss and the extra thing that's annoying me here. But you can see, I'm not too concerned. I'm using a lot of flasks because I know as soon as I kill this boss, we're going to get our flasks back. So don't be scared about using flasks when you can. And to add to that, we've already got 4 from going to the first church. Once we kill this boss and we get to the second church, that will be 5 flasks already. You can see here the boss is now here. Relatively easy once it's on its own. Didn't take very long at all. You can chip away with it. The arrows don't do much. Using our secondary, and then we managed to get a critical on it and then just finish him off. And then is the second boss. So we completed 2 bosses already. The circle's coming in, and this is where map control really comes in clutch here. So decide which weapon you want to take, which buff you want. Remember, they always stack. So even if you get a bow and you're not a bow character and it has frost, they will also stack. So make sure you're stacking these up. If you're going for blood loss, if you're going for fire damage, they all stack up. So make sure you are stacking that up later. But day 1, you don't need to worry as much. So what I am doing now is I'm just checking the map as I'm running to find myself the quickest way to get to that church. Because I want to tick off 2 churches straight away, and the circle, as you can see there, is going to be the top right of the map. So I need to get to the bottom half of the map as quickly as possible. And you are going to learn a few things here, especially with the rain and the fire, whatever you want to call it when the circle comes in. You can still maneuver around in it, so you don't have to worry as much. So you see there, we're going to make our way over to the site of grace first, get our flask back, heal up, and then we are going to make our way over to the church. And I'm going to do a bit of a risky thing here, but I do think you guys need to be doing this, especially in solo, because it's going to give you lots of items. You want to go into the mines, and I'm going to show you a couple tricks in the mine. Even when the fire is in and you are outside of the circle and you're taking damage, you can still make your way around and not to worry. So you see that I'm checking the map again just to see where the fire's coming in, how quickly it's moving, and if I've got enough time. I make the decision to have enough time, so I just run past everybody. And then as soon as you bring up the map, you want to press on your D-pad, which is the little left, right, down. Press down and it will show you the map of inside the cave, so you can maneuver around really fast with that knowledge. You see that it goes up or down, so I'm going to go round. The boss should be lying on the floor, and there he is. And we are going to take him out relatively quickly. And again, using our ult as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the critical damage on him because of his head's in the way, so I just end up trying to get him with frost with the weapon that we took from the second boss that we killed. Again, this is why it's really important that you plan out your runs and plan out your items. So I can inflict fire and frost together. Not a terrible combination. It isn't maximizing it, but you see that we get the boss done relatively quickly. And this is where you are going to pick up the Smith and Stone 2, which are really, really important in solo running because you can level up any weapon to purple rarity. You see there the flames coming in, or the rain's coming in, the storm's coming in, but I'm not worried because I've got 5 flasks, and I know with map knowledge that there is a grace site outside. So I'm using the inside map to check this out, and then as we go outside, I flick it to back outside map, and I'm looking for the quickest way around. Now I know I need to get to the site of grace. That's going to heal me and then maximize my flask, and then we are just going to make our way in. Now we can go past all of the other site of graces as we're making this run, so that's going to either replenish our flask or give us a boost of health. Now I wouldn't worry too much. Like I say, since the patches come out, you don't get instant killed now when the circle hits the marker. Beforehand, you'd be instantly killed. Now you don't, so that isn't terrible. And a little thing to add as well, on top of this, in solo, you do get revives 3 times. 1 at the start and every boss you kill. So even if you go down, you will be revived anyway with full health. So I wouldn't worry too much. But you can see there, we make our way out, and now I'm looking for the next low-level camp to go to. Currently level 4, aiming for that level 5, level 6, or level 7 before the first day 1 end boss. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to the site of grace again, getting fully healed, picking up any of the flasks we've used, and now we're going to make our way across to the next camp. And while I'm looking at this camp, I'm also looking at the secondary camp. So that camp there in particular, whatever we kill is marked on the map is going to have a holy item, which is what we need to defeat this boss, as we know that is his weakness. So we are looking to gather as much holy stuff as possible as we make through this run. Now I do make actually a couple mistakes in this run, but because I know how to do this, it isn't the end of the day. And it also shows you that you can make mistakes. So again, we're looking for the bosses. I get a little bit confused in these areas trying to find them, but we are looking for the big white ones. That's essentially what we're looking for. We're ignoring these ones when we can. Typically there's 2 together at the top, and there'll be 1 at the bottom of the stairs. So you can see here I'm just running around trying to find them as quickly as possible. Can't locate them until I remember they're going to be here. So 1's behind me and then 1's sitting down. So we are just going to go ahead and just try and chip away at one of them using our frost damage when we get it, which I think is 4 hits. Using our secondary ability to bring him in, and then there we go. We get the frost, and then we get critical on him. That's 1 down. We've got to kill 3 of these, so we know the next one's around the corner. So again, I can use my secondary ult and then get rid of him this way. Chipping away. I do a bad roll, but I'm not worried because we can use as many flasks as we want. because if we kill these bosses, we just get our flask back. So again, don't be worried to use your flask. This is not like Elden Ring where you get punished and you run out of flasks. Your flask management isn't anywhere near as important. And there's one more boss. I'm just checking to make sure the circle isn't coming in, even though there's an indicator, but sometimes you get a little bit lost and confused. And you can see there, this one's a little bit more easier because we've learned his move. We should get frost damage. There it is. And then we're just going to finish him off. Once we get the last 2 hits in, critical in, and then bang, that boss has been killed. And then we are going to go ahead and select our first holy item because that's what we need to do to fight this boss. Now you can get rid of these enemies around because they will just keep hitting you when you're trying to look at items, but I won't worry too much. So there you go, the top one there is going to be our second or first holy item, sorry, that we want. I'm going to drag him over, just get a quick kill there just to basically before I end up to the site of grace. Now these site of graces should spawn where you kill the boss, and as you can see there, I accidentally ran past it and then realized on the map that I ran past it. So we level up to level 6, and now I'm plotting my next route, which again, there is another holy camp on the way over. So that's where we're going to, and you can go back a little bit just to check, but we are aiming for the secondary holy camp to basically maximize the holy damage up. And you can basically go ahead and get 2 of those and you'll be done. So you see that we're making our way over to this fort, and as we make our way into this fort, we have our main ult, which we are going to use because it's going to maximize. And that's also going to give us a lot more ruins. So we go to the first fort here because typically this one's really easy to kill. And you can see here, we literally bang in our ult straight away, get rid of almost half the damage, and then we can just go ahead and just finish him off with a couple hits here and there. Boss has been killed instantly. Just got to pick off the rest of the enemies that are around. Nothing too crazy. And we managed to get ourselves a load of souls. That'll ruins that way, and then we can have a look at anything that's going to put. So I go ahead and improve critical hit because I do a lot of critical damage basically in terms of what we're looking for. And now you can see here the circle's coming in, and I'm making my way over to the next holy camp. Now don't worry if you end up only killing half the bosses and then you run out of time. You can come back to any camp and their health will be exactly where they were when you finished off. So if you only get the boss down to half health, you finish the first day cycle, you can go back and the boss will still be at half health to finish him off. I try my fastest to get here and get this done, but unfortunately I don't think I do it. I need to remember as I'm obviously commentating over the gameplay, but there are 3 of these. These are a little bit of a pain to deal with on your own because of their poise is really hard to break, and then people basically turn up at the same time. But I'm trying to also rush to get this done because I know the circle is coming in. So my time management isn't great here, and that is my first mistake I made. Time management, thinking I can basically complete more or bite off more than I can chew. But you can make mistakes in this. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't ruin your run. If you do die, just run back, pick up your ruins either off an enemy that's captured them or if they're on the floor, and you can basically get your level back. So the level you'll lose will be given back to you in ruins. But you can see that I'm just trying to get this done as quickly as I can because I know the circle's coming in. But I start basically doing bad management and stamina, bad management and game movement. And you can see here, starting to like panic a little bit and rush, which is not the best move. But again, using the ult, badly timing my attacks. Just multiple mistakes in this run. But we get 2 of them down. He gets down to quarter health. But you see there, the circles come in, and I do need to make a move. And I am going to go to a site of grace because we've managed to kill off a few things where I should be able to reach level 7 off this site of grace. But we are at level 6. So again, not a bad run. So we have done pretty well here in day 1. As we do get to level 7. And now we can go ahead and take on the first boss. Not a problem at all. So that's what you're kind of aiming for, is level 7. Any higher is a huge bonus. But as long as you're picking up one of the main camps and one of the main weapons that are going to be the effective against the main Night Lord, that's what you're aiming to do. So we managed to get ourselves a holy weapon at level 7, got ourselves 2 churches done, and that's a very successful day 1 run. Now what I'm doing as you go into the circle is you've got plenty of time to plan your route. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to go to that first camp, then the second camp. Also listen out for these scarabs because these are going to give you talismans that can boost you in multiple things. Some are going to be better than others. That's RNG. But you see that my max HP has increased by 12%, which is absolutely clutch when it comes to that. So we are now into the day 1 night boss, or the first boss of day 1. And we've got ourselves in a relatively good position that we should just fly through this no matter what Elden Ring Nightreign decides to chuck at us. And like I say, we are now waiting. And this is where you can plan your route for day 2. Which is what I recommend you do highly instead of sitting around and waiting like I am. But obviously I already planned beforehand. So we are just waiting for the circle to close in. And then you'll hear that noise, meaning the battle has started. You will get these first, like a little bit of a secondary phase of a boss. I don't understand why, but it's just a good way to farm a load of ruins early. And again, making sure you use all of your ults when you can to pick them off. Now, one thing I did notice, because I'm such a high level, with my secondary ult here with the little whip, I can actually kill these things by just using that. So there's a lovely little range bonus there, and it's just a really easy way to pick them off one by one. Of course, spacing is important, and I make, again, more mistakes. But, one take, running all the way through this, you're going to make mistakes here, there, and everywhere. If you do have any questions about anything at any point, please let me know. If you guys are looking for trios, put your name down below, because it's going to be a good place to basically catch up on comments. And we are going to be getting more of these guides out. We got our last boss to take on here before the actual boss, or I call it a pre-boss. And you can see here, I've managed to pick up one of the stones. I haven't used the stone yet, if you remember, from the first church. Reason being is we can pop it down now when the boss comes, and we get to see what the first boss is going to be. And it's the Bell-Bearing Hunter. Not the most difficult boss to deal with. He can be a little bit of a pain at times, but immediately we put our ult, and then we get our crit damage in. Again, we've got a buff, if you remember, because we took the crit buff, so we get ourselves double win, and we managed to frost him at the same time. So I hit him with all three things. You see that we get his health down instantly to practically half there by just using frost, fire, and critical. And the same thing applies. Don't be scared to use as many flasks as you want in this area, because again, once you kill the boss, you'll get the flask back, and you'll get a load of ruins to level up. So it is worth staying alive, of course. And again, in solos now, because of the update, you'll get yourself a revive as well. So if you do go down, you'll be revived with full health. So don't worry about that either. I'm just sort of learning his attacks. You see there, trying to get the timing right. We get frost damage on him again, and then we manage to roll away. And we'll get a bit greedy here, but we managed to get lucky with a frame rate there where we drop underneath it. Don't worry about his grab. I zoom back in again, get myself a lovely little crit damage here. And then I should have healed, but because I'm greedy, I went for the frost attack, which is not the end of the world. It does a lot of damage, and then I healed afterwards. So again, I got very lucky, but you see there, he basically destroys me off that. And again, trying to frost him, using the wrong attacks, but I'm not too worried. We got 2 flasks, or 1 flask now, and he's basically on no health whatsoever. And there we go. We use our secondary ability. And remember, we're going to go to this camp, and then over to this camp to clear them out, and then we are going to look for a main boss. And you want to basically choose the best thing here. So you can see here, when I kill activation summons a group of Lost of the Dead. So basically we managed to get ourselves a bonus there. And we are now at level 8, which is where you want to be when you are after day 1 boss. And you got the time here to plan your route again. So again, we are looking to plan our route. And I'll kind of want to make my way over to the last 2 churches. You can see there's one in the middle there, and there's one at the bottom left. So that's what I'm looking at doing. And we go a little bit earlier. Not too concerned, because the first boss is really easy to kill. These camps are traditionally the easiest ones to get rid of, and it's normally a little golem or something like that. So there we go. I managed to get ourselves a guardian golem, which is not bad at all, especially with their weak points. They are relatively easy to kill, especially when you can get yourself the crit damage. Now, I managed to mess this up somehow, but, you win some, you lose some. As long as you're getting them done relatively quickly, and the same thing again, don't worry about your flask, because you'll get them back every time you kill a boss. So we are going to use ourselves a flask here in a second. But these are typically the easiest boss to deal with, unless he decides to run away to the other side of the map. But, it is what it is. So we make our way over again. We're going to use our ult. And don't be scared to use your ult as many times as possible, because the more you use it, the quicker it recharges, etc., etc. And you can see there, we're just going to go ahead and finish him off now, using our fire damage on him. Going to try and get frost on him as well once my stamina regenerates. 1 hit away. Bang. Boss is dead. And that is the first boss done there in day 2. Going to pick up anything here, and you can see there we're looking for anything that's going to basically back our ability. So we go for this item here. Site of Grace is next to us, and we're marking off where we're going next. So we're just checking how many ruins we need for level 20, or level 9, sorry. And we're going to make our way over to the next camp. Again, this is the easier camp. Now, I could have made it back to the holy camp where we started, but I did notice underneath me there is another holy camp there anyway, so I'm not too worried. So I'm going to make my way over to that one. But again, just looking for the fastest route. All these camps are the same, so once you know the boss's location, you can just keep going through, and nothing to worry about when it comes to that. So again, we're just speed running through past everybody else, looking for these bosses. Now, I probably shouldn't have wasted my ult on those golems, but it is what it is. These are typically annoying to fight because of the wind damage and how fast they move. And fighting 2 together is typically annoying. But there are a few tips and tricks that you can do with this. One is don't do frost into the wind attack, because it'll break your poise. But 2, also, once it's been staggered, you can't stagger him again. If you do get trapped like this in the corner, just jump over the wall. Don't forget to use the climber mechanics and then heal there. They don't climb like you do. So you got yourself a good situation. And like I keep stressing, don't be scared to use as many flasks as you need. The more flasks you use, it is what it is. Especially when you're fighting these mini bosses, because you'll get your flasks back. So you see again, just taking these out. Probably shouldn't take them on together because they're going to basically do what you see there, dual damage. So I tried to move one away from the other while healing, and it looks like this one is going to be the candidate for us. So we get a few cheap hits on him, and then we need to roll away. This is what I mean by his attacks. You can see there he's got like 3 or 4 attacks that he chains together. And you can probably tell that I'm probably panicking at this point, but it's really nothing to worry about. Now we've got them one by one. So much easier to deal with, and you can see we're just taking away the damage. Running away, and then we're going to go back over to the other one to start chip damage at him as well. He heals, but I'm really not too bothered because we are basically going to finish these off. And this is probably the second mistake I made. I just take far too long killing these. Didn't have a game plan. Just sort of tried to take them both on one by one. I used my ult on one, and then I'm going to try and drag him over into the fire to basically chip away with him. But it doesn't really work as well as I like. And then he finally does move into it. And it's just much easier to deal with once he's there. And then we get ourselves that one killed. In this moment here. So you see there, not the best run. Again, we took far too long taking those bosses out, but the more you learn, the easier they become. I should have definitely done more critical damages on them. Should have done backstabs. But we move on to the next one, and this actually is quite hilarious. End up running around and wasting a lot of time in his camp because I just can't find him because he actually moves away and he's actually on the bushes to my right. So I go to the left, can't see him. He's actually now behind me. So I do another lap around in a second to try to find him. And I also find a merchant. This is where we're going to get into the next tip here. Merchant, especially with the smithing stone we got from the mining camp, the merchant is going to upgrade our low weapons to purple. So you can see here, find the merchant in the bottom right, turn around, talk about him. I'm thinking, where's this boss? I can't find him. Actually, no, let me go level up. So the sword I've got now, because it's doing so much damage, I end up basically leveling that up to purple. I should have chose Holy, completely forgetting what the main goal is here to go for the end boss. But, you know, I'm not too bothered because we're going to go to another Holy camp anyway, but this is just going to help me out where we are. And you'll notice as I run around here, he's there hiding in the bushes. That's why I could not find him. And we're just going to go ahead and get him sorted. One on their own is so much easier than 2 of them together. And you can see that we get a first frost damage in. We get a bit greedy, try to frost him again. And then unfortunately, as you can see there, the storm's coming in. So like I said, I took far too long on this one. We haven't had a chance to check the storm yet, so I'm just hoping it's in a good position. And I get killed. And this is why we are this in this part in the video. One, I messed this up badly on our second run, and a lot of people do this. But you'll see here, we go down 1 level. You can only go 1 level down each run, so do not worry about going down a level. We are immediately going to go back and get our ruins, and we're going to finish this boss off. And you will see here, the reason why we need to do this is because we are going to get our ruins back, which means we can just go back to the level we had. So we didn't lose a level, essentially. You see here, this one's got it. You get my ruins back, I get 73,000 back. So that means I can level up instantly. And I'm just going to go for this boss as soon as I can, because I know the circle's coming in. But again, I'm getting ganked, so I've got to take out the second one because he's a bit weaker. And they're just going to basically stack damage up on me. So I drag him over with my ult again, and then we can go ahead and get this one finished. So we're just going to go ahead and do that now. You see there, I'm kind of rushing a little bit because I'm worried about the circle coming in. We get that kill, and then we are going to go ahead and pick up our next weapon, which is going to be Razor's attacks in magic, fire, lightning, and everything else. And now I am going to search a grace really quickly, and I can see where the circle is. So I'm going to go to this camp, and the reason being is I can level up there and move on to the next one. And we are looking to fight one of the main bosses as well. Now, ideally in day 2, you want to reach level 11, level 12 if you can before the night boss of day 2. You are going to have to take out some of these main bosses that are basically marked as dragon heads, because they are going to give you one of the best items, RNG, and also they're going to give you lots of ruins to level up. So that's exactly where we're going. So we're just going to make our way. So I had to scrap the camp idea because the circle's coming in. Also, if you notice, one of the churches that we're aiming for is inside the circle, so we are going to make our way over to that church. But my main goal here is to take out this boss. Now, you want to take out at least 1 or 2 bosses in day 2. Most important strat, because that's going to give you a lot of ruins, as we know, but also a lot of weapons and lots of bonuses and relics and anything else you may get from the RNG drops. You see that we do half damage straight away again. Very good run, very good start. Stacking up all of our boosts together. Another reason why we chose this weapon to level up, because of the frost damage, as well as our ult coming in very clutch. And the relics I have on the ult there is the reason why I have the fire. And you get the relics basically from the more you play, the better relics you get. There's none you can buy straight away. You can see there, he's using magic. Now I messed this up, forgetting my opponent's attack, and I nearly get killed here, being an idiot. So learn the boss's attacks as of when you can, and this actually cost me a few of the hits, but I'm just trying to do frost damage on him, not realizing he's not really being affected by it so much, and I should probably switch to another weapon like fire, but you know, it is what it is. We're here, we're making mistakes left, right, and center. The main goal is to complete this, to move on to the next bosses and get this out of the way, but that's what we're doing here. And again, you can see there, we're just going to avoid the attacks, use our secondary to move in, get a couple hits in there and there. We're going to dodge these ones this time because I learned from my previous mistake not to get hit as much. So we roll out the way of those, and then we can just make our way in again. Dodge that attack. Could have gone for an attack there myself, but I chose not to. Use our secondary to move in. Get frost damage on them again. Don't get activated with frost this time, not a worry. We can go ahead and then use the next one. And there we go. Get the frost, and that is the main boss done. Now, if you look how many ruins we get from that in the top right, we get ourselves relatively a lot. 45,000, which is almost a level. And we also get some really good abilities. So we actually choose this one here because you can see there, successful guarding basically gives our damage up, but I'm not guarding, which I'll go ahead and change later. But they're not bad weapons to have, one of the best ones to have. So you see we're level 10. Now we're going to make our way over to the church, and we are going to use this to basically fly our way over, or super jump over, whatever you want to call it. Fast travel across, and there is another one to my right here. And I'm also checking the map where to go next, so basically other camps that we can take out, or if there's any other bosses in the area. But essentially, we're just avoiding any of the small enemies now. We're just going for the big ones in day 2. You don't want to waste your time too much with the small ones. And you kind of want to have at least 6 flasks if you are getting to the boss, which is going to be the end boss in day 3, because that's going to give you the best run possible. Now, you can see here, checking the map again to see if there's any bosses around. There's no bosses around here, so we are going to make our way over to this camp next to us, because it's one of the quickest camps to get done. And as we know, it's a day 1 camp. And not only that, they have Holy, because I need to stack up on Holy, which I remembered near the end of day 2. To maximize my chance against the end boss in day 3, we're going to need Holy as his weakness. And as you can see there, we take out these bosses, the easiest bosses in the game. Super fast. Just waiting for to see what their attack was going to be. See there, nothing to worry about. Then we are going to basically use our secondary into that. That's another one down, another one down. And then we got our last one here, and that boss has been killed. And we get our secondary holy weapon, is exactly what we wanted. I'm just checking what the other one did. So we go ahead and take that. And now we have 2 holy weapons, and we can manage to basically stack up our ability. So once you've got the weapons you are ready to go with, what you are looking to do next is basically start stacking up the passive abilities that every weapon has. So if you're killing bosses or finding items and you're looking for a certain thing to be stacked up in your ability, that's what you want to do next. So you can see here, we're trying to farm some ruins to level up again. Not enough here, so we go, right, let's move on to the next camp. I can take these ones out relatively quickly and just have a look what this item's going to be. It is an axe. Probably could have took it, but it's magic power, and we're not using magic. We don't want holy. So again, we're heading down to this camp. And the same thing with the same bosses in these camps are all located in the same place. So I remembered from the first mistake we made in day 1 to basically go ahead and do that. And like I say, when you learn these camps, when you learn the bosses, you'll know exactly where the locations are. Also, below me, there are 3 chests that you can pick up. They're not essential, but you can go ahead and get them. We make our way in to the bosses, avoiding these annoying things. And there's the first one, and there's the second one. Now, I'm going to try something different to what I did last time, trying to get them together like we have here. And then we are going to use our main ult here, our ult ability, to basically take them both out really fast. And that's how you want to deal with these bosses as quickly as you can, because you can move on to the next camp, onto the next camp. You see that this tide's already coming in, so that's it. We're going into the end. This is the end of day 2, basically. So we didn't do the best. We killed one of the main bosses, and we took out a couple of the smaller ones, getting ourselves up to level 3. We get ourselves another holy weapon here, which we are going to take, and we are going to get rid of the magic. So we got 3 holy weapons now to go ahead and fight the last boss, which is going to be day 3 boss. And we're just checking the map quickly if there's anywhere else we can go. So I'm looking around going, okay, let me have a look. The way up could be there. I'm also looking to see if I can make it into the church. I realize there isn't, and I'm really close to level 11. And I had going down to that area that I said about the chest, just in case there was anything down here that can help. And you can see there just wasn't a lot of holy grease, which we do end up using because that's going to obviously boost up our holy damage. And we're just having a look around to see what the weapons are, but nothing crazy. We don't need item discovery at this point. So okay, we'll go. Okay, the circle's coming in. Trying to find the Site of Grace. I actually miss it. It's right in front of me there, but because I'm looking at the map and multiple other things, I go, okay, let me go back to the old camp that we were at. Use the Site of Grace there. We can then level up, get our flask back, and then we can head over into the final circle. So this part's relatively simple. We're just taking out some stragglers as we go around, just to make sure we have enough ruins to get to level 11 before fighting this boss. So if you remember what we were in day 1 to day 2, we didn't do as well in day 2, but we still did well enough in terms of farming the weapons we wanted for the weakness of the day 3 boss. But we could have basically farmed a few more ruins here and there if we were just a little bit smarter. But as long as you get to level 12, that's kind of where you want to be at the end boss. Main thing, as always, is the flask. You see, I don't have enough ruins to level up, so I'm like, right, what enemies are around that I can quickly farm? I know that my secondary weapons or secondary ult's going to kill them instantly. So long as I don't miss too many attacks like I did there, we're going to be fine. And we're looking for around 50,000 ruins. So I know as soon as we kill that, we've got enough. We then run back to level up, checking the circles coming in okay. And we're going to be in a good position here now to fight the second boss on day 2. And we get to sell to a level 11. So that's exactly where we want to be. We've got 3 holy weapons. Level 11, we've leveled up our main weapon. We've almost got our main ult as well fighting this boss. And we've just done very well. We got down once, not a problem. Every time you beat a boss, you get a secondary down. And now all I'm doing now is just checking which weapon's the strongest and which weapons do what to basically see if they dual hand later on. So that's just me checking they dual wield later on when I go to head to fight the day 3 boss. But like I say, here you can plan your route out. But in day 2, obviously, you can't really move anywhere after this. So it is all about management of your flask. Ideally, in the first phase of this area or this boss, you don't want to use that many flasks. You want to save them for the main boss at the end. And I basically get my timings wrong a lot with these bosses, but it's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to do as much damage as possible. These are a little bit annoying to fight. They just suck up a lot of damage, but they're very, very easy. See, they do long range, short range. They're just very, very well balanced in that sort of sense. And all we're doing is just using a lot of our FP here, just basically get rid of them. Now, I use 1 flask here because obviously I don't want to lose my self-revive at the same time. And we are just going to go ahead and finish him off. But I'm basically being strategic. I'm just waiting for my secondary to basically either warm up so I can use it to come in from far away, get a damage in, move out again. You can see here we're about to do that. I'm going to basically wait to see what he does, wait for these to move, and then we're going to go and make our attack. Swing in, get hit with a frost. Frost doesn't activate this time, and it does right at the end, very clutch. And that's one of the reasons why we keep doing that frost damage. You see that it is massive, and it is chipping away at his health at the same time while we can move around. Now, I've used 2 flasks, so this has actually been another bad run in the secondary boss, but we're going to explain why we're doing this and why we're not going to go down, because you're going to see a little bit later on, a bit of a spoiler in this fight, that revive comes in absolutely clutch. And like I say, I could definitely do these bosses better. We're just taking it 1 step at a time. Been a little bit unfortunate. We had a really near perfect day 1 run. Day 2 wasn't as good, but I'm not going to go ahead and kill this boss in terms of use. Sorry, I'm not going to go ahead and use a potion. Now I do, or a flask even. We pick up the secondary item here, and you can see we're going to instantly use our ult on him straight away. And I messed that up. He moves away. Now that would have made this boss so much easier, but I absolutely bottled my ult, which you can see there is doing no damage to him. I'm trying to get him to walk into the fire, but he's just having none of it. And we absolutely ruin our ult. So there's another mistake. Make sure you're using your ult when possible. And I'm just checking to see which weapon does more damage. And we're not doing a lot. So at this stage, I'm like, oh, I've ruined this. The run's over. I'm going to have to fight my life off here. And you see here, just practicing from Elden Ring. Obviously, the Fell Omen isn't ridiculously difficult. But if you mess up a few mistakes, he can catch you out a few times. Especially with some of his newer attacks in Nightreign. And I'm just trying to work out what's the best move to do here. And we do trade off, and that's not what you want to do, especially with his bleed damage. And I'm trying to basically figure out what we're going to do here, and I'm still deciding what weapon's best. So I end up going back to the frost weapon a little bit later, as obviously I'm using Faith, which is not the best, or Holy, which is not the best one to use here. And I'm really badly timing my rolls and runs. So again, you don't have to be perfect at this game. You don't have to be the best Elden Ring Nightreign player in the world to get this done. We do manage to complete this on our own by using the methods and just being calm and composed in certain situations. Now we have to run away from that attack. That's something I do know. We've only got 1 flask left. We've basically done no damage to him whatsoever. We're not even halfway on our ult either. And you must be thinking, how in the world do you get out of this situation and manage to progress? Is this a clickbait video? I promise you it is not. As you can see there, we're making our way through. Just trying to work out the best time to attack. Absolutely timed the roll terribly, and I'm going to have to use my last flask. And that's it. Now we're in serious trouble. No more flasks left. We're already down to half health. We've done no damage to him whatsoever. We've not got any hits in. If anything, we're having a really bad time. And that's one of the mistakes making, was using the wrong weapons. I should not be using these weapons against him. Because I'm just testing them out and being a bit of an idiot. That's why we're there. So now I'm thinking, what in the world do I do here? I'm going to have to just try and play this much calmer. I'm looking for things to heal me around the map. There's nothing here to heal me. So we're in full panic stations now. So you can see here. And we are basically just trying to protect ourselves in any way possible. And I'm just trying to think of what am I going to do here. So again, I keep wasting these relics or these buffs here. I don't know why I keep doing that. The greases, I should not be doing that here. And we managed to get him into his face. We just take a lot of chip damage away. And now we're in trouble. And there we go. He downs me. And that's why this revive's so important. You see here, we get ourselves a revive. Full health. And we're going to chip away a bit more. We're using double our weapons this time, not just one, because that was another mistake I'm making. So again, no flask, no revives left. He's not even to half health yet. We're in serious trouble. And we are needing to basically think of a plan B here. And I can see I'm just working out his attacks a bit better. We're coming close. I'm not too concerned about that because I want to get him down to half. He's going to hurt me no matter what. Now I get my ult, which is what we're going to use here. And this is what we could have done if I didn't mess it up the first time. And then we get the crit on him with our boosted crit as well. And the fire damage chipping away in the background. Imagine if we didn't miss our first ult. This boss would be so much easier. I made it so much difficult on myself. And now we've turned the tide. But as you can see there, we are nearly dead again. No heals. We're going to have to roll for our life. And I'm like, okay, we might bottle this if we're not careful. And now we need to basically time our attacks perfectly, which is what we're going to do here. I'm going to wait for him coming close. Dodge that attack. Get 2 attacks in here. 2 more. We're going to roll. And then bang. Game over. So again, coming in clutch. If we managed to hit him with our first ult, we would have been absolutely fine. But we bottled that. And now we are going into the day 3 boss. And I'm looking to see what to take here. Improved charges of speed of the ultimate. So basically that's going to charge my ultimate up. That's the reason why I went for it. There's all the buffs we have on the right hand side in terms of special effects. Not the best place to be in. We are level 11. We can get to level 12 on the day 3. And we are going to go ahead and traverse into the boss now. And we are basically going to be stacking up our holy. That's what we should have done. And I'm going to talk about the last mistake I made right at the beginning of the run. I did briefly mention it. But what it was, in terms of the mistake, was basically the smithing stone we picked up from the mines. We should have used on a holy weapon. That's the biggest mistake I made. Can't level up anymore, and this is what you want to do, is take as many of the graces as you can there to double up on revives. You see that I'm checking there, like I should have used the stone. I'm so silly, shouldn't have put it on that. But that's where we are. Now, holy with this will stun the opponent or the enemy relatively easy. And I'm just basically moving my weapons around to what fits better in which hand. I'm just checking the double dual wheel there. And we are going to pick up some of the warming stones as well. Only one we can afford. To just give us a little bit of a health boost if we run out of potions. We've got 7 of the flasks. And let's go ahead and head into the day 3 boss. And see exactly how we get on. Now, I recommend if you have any of the flasks that boost up any of your poise. Or any of the special abilities that you can basically grant with your weapon arts, do this before running straight into the boss. So go into this cutscene and then activate it as soon as possible. You can skip these cutscenes as well. It isn't that bad. You just press start on your controller. You just got to wait to a certain point before you can do it, and then you can skip. So that's what I highly, highly recommend you do when you get into the day 3 boss, is activate all your buffs, activate anything that you have got to help you win this fight. I don't have anything, unfortunately, because I'm just not ready, but I do have Holy Grease. Got that ready to go, and we are now just going to run for the boss. And now this boss, like I say, is extremely weak to holy. He does the same attack, and I make the first mistake is not rolling here, but we do manage to get ourselves away with our secondary. But unfortunately, makes a jump, and we should roll that attack. You roll that attack is really cheap shots. The swords are relatively easy to skip. Just get nice and close to him and make sure you're rolling when you can. You see, we're just learning his attacks to make sure we don't make any mistake. And then we get our first hit. Look how much damage we do. We do 662 after 2 swings. And that's because of the holy damage. And again, we're going to use our first flask here. Avoid the sword swinging or the blade swinging. And we're going to wait for him to run. And we're going to roll. Are you ready? We're going to roll just there. And then we get ourselves 2 more hits in. And now we've activated his weakness. Now he's going to take more damage. He's going to do less damage to us. He's been slightly staggered as well. And you see there, 1 more hit. We are going to stagger him. So I'm just waiting for him to basically make a mistake. As we get ourselves a hit in. We're trading off. We're going to heal again one more time. Not worried about the range of this. And then he is going to run towards us. And we know to roll. So we're going to roll just about there. Dodge that attack. And now we go. We've managed to stagger him. We're going to get critical damage on him, which is also buffed right up. And we've got him down to 3/4 of health already. Or what, we knocked down 1/4 of the health already. And now he's going to transition. Now, I honestly wouldn't worry about this. And you're going to see why. If you have your alternative, watch. This is the best way to deal with this. He's going to send 2 of them at you. Hit your ult straight away. Hit both of them. Bang. Look how much damage that does. And then on top of that, we get another critical as well. And we managed to take out almost all of his health after 2 attacks. And then we are just going to basically go ahead and just take on the one. I would avoid the one with the sword on his back because it does the most damage. And make sure you're getting your attacks in and don't miss like I've missed, basically. You see there, it's not difficult to deal with. He then calls them back in a second. They are very angry. The only thing you've got to worry about is this fire attack. That's the only thing that does a lot of damage to you. And it can hit you from long range as well. So just be careful of that. And we do get caught out by that, but that's the reason why we bought the revival stones. I forgot what they're called now, but that's why we bought 2 of them. Gonna hit again. And now he's transforming back into 3 heads. Avoid that attack as we know. Hit him down. Dodge the sword. Get another hit. Got a bit lucky there with the miss, but it's fine. Good spacing from us. You just want to stay nice and close to this boss. We should have rolled out of that, but we didn't. Getting a bit greedy here now. And this is the attack I was talking about. This one here. If you're not careful, that will instant kill you depending on your health. But luckily we have a revive, as we know. And we are going to get full health here. And we're going to get a nice little boost on our alternate as well. And you can see here, we are just making our way again. Using the same attacks we did before. Rolling out the way. Bang. Now he's weak again because of the holy damage we've been doing. We can just basically finish him off. We're not too greedy here. As you see there, we're getting a little bit greedy, but it is what it is. We're just chipping away now. He's going to go back into the 3 dogs. But unfortunately, I don't have my ult this time, so I've just got to be a little bit more careful. We just need to make sure whichever one's coming towards us, skip the attacks, and then we can go ahead and start swinging. And you can see there, he's now been really hurt. And there we go. We have completed it. And that is how you can go ahead and get the best run possible, even though we didn't manage to maximize it. We made a lot of mistakes. We did this solo. If there was 3 of you, you'd be able to do much better if you're looking to do this with your mates or with randos. And that's how you're going to do it. As always, any questions, please let me know. We'll be doing the rest of the bosses if you want to, every expedition. And just to highlight on the map, there's the plan we had. We landed in at the 2 churches at the bottom. We then cleared out the couple camps, went into the mine, worked our way up to the top bit there, come through every single camp, then made our path around here and then back down there to the end boss. And that's how we did both days. Like I say, any questions, comment down below. If you're new to the channel, smash like button, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.